I am sure that you had a real filling, and we are ready for the concluding sessions, which is this one and the next one, on this wonderful and fantastic convention organized by Vishwanath Bhatt and his team. Let me, on behalf of my friends of those era and other senior past presidents, first of all, congratulate Vishwanath Bhatt and his team for this wonderful arrangement. He may recall that I was the first delegate to enroll, and what caught my attention was the fantastic topic. So let me start my interaction with you on
CMA.
that score.
CMA.
Why is it important? Because when you speak of a roadmap towards a AI-enabled CMA, the moment you speak of roadmap, there are two things which are very important. As you enter a road, there will be an entry point and there will be an exit point. But it's very important to know where you enter and how to exit, if at all an exit is also required. So in this context, let me recall the wonderful quote of a stock market expert who said, "It's very easy to play in a stock market. What all you need to know is only when to enter and when to exit." This was the quote of an operator in stock market. But the real challenge is how to judge when to enter and when to exit. That is a real challenge. Now, why I am giving this as an allegory is that when you speak of a roadmap, you also now need to enter this road of artificial intelligence. And you need to upskill yourself in driving that road. So when you enter that road, you have not entered from the beginning. A journey, as a wonderful quote was given today, someone from 1966 has been speaking on artificial intelligence. But we have entered the road now. So that means we are joining the road. So there is an entry for us. There may not be an exit, there is an entry for us. So while upskilling, we should correctly know what is this point of entry, because we need to get the big picture correctly. And in conventions of this sort, you don't try to get the nuts and bolts of the topic. You need not get into the nuances. After all, the institute will be organizing workshops and seminars and interactive sessions to get into the nuts and bolts. But conceptually, what is happening and how do we start driving on the road? So from that perspective, what exactly is happening in this journey? I got a glimpse of that 3-4 days back when I was listening to an interview by the India Today anchor Rahul with some of the AI experts in the Davos summit. The sum and substance of that is, while the AI has been evolving for a considerable time, today what is the context of the evolution of AI? That is the point of our entry in that road. Today's context is actually, it is contextualizing only. The context is contextualizing. So the challenge throughout this world, business world and the world connected with the application of AI is how to contextualize the potential of AI into the situation where we are. You may be a practicing cost accountant, you may be working in an industry, you may be working in a BPO or a KPO, or you may be working in startups. There is a domain called AI. You need to pick the knowledge from that and contextualize. So today's state of evolution of AI is contextualizing. You need to enrich that domain with contextualization. So that means our journey on the roadmap is we are entering from a lane and we are entering a point called contextualization. So we need not get into trying to understand so much about the tools of AI. What is the Python table, this, that, etc. Broadly, we should know that we are significantly a part of what is called as a large language models. We are in that particular phase where the deep dive is playing what is called as a deep dive is playing a major role. So how do we pick this pieces of knowledge in AI and connect with a domain called cost and management accounting, because the basic core of our heart is cost and management accounting. We cannot jump the ship and become an AI expert. If you want, you can do, but we are not discussing about that. As a CMA, how do you upskill? That is the context today in which we need to listen to these two speakers and what sort of skills are required. So before I invite them, I'll just give a small example and set the tone. How did I pick up the context? This is a particular company, an engineering company, which is very famous for making dice. It has got one of the division makes dice. So I had been to this company as a part of my business work. So they introduced to me something called a smart die. What is a smart die? Do you mean die has knowledge? Die can think? Yes, they said die can be smart. It can think. So this raised my curiosity. I wanted to understand that. They very quickly explained to me what is the meaning of a smart die. So as we all know, typically in a foundry, or in an iron foundry or an aluminum foundry, you can put a die, mold a metal, pour into the die and get the shape of the casting of a component, whatever you want. This keeps on happening, and that particular casting or a forging subsequently goes into a machining company, like so many sponsors we see here today. It can be a Tafe or a Simpson or Volvo, any engineering company which uses that casting to machine and make its components. So for them, the foundry makes the die, foundry makes the casting, and they require the die. But what is a smart die? They said, when the die is in operation, what will happen is, suppose there is a drop in the temperature, and the die is going to malfunction, and the component is going to produce a defective quality. There will be sensing of that, and a message will be, an alert will be generated to the operator. This is one way of attacking it. And if the operator is not focusing on why this malfunctioning, it will be escalated through alerts to the supervisor or the foreman. Now, this looping is further closed by further advancement in technology. Up to this stage, it is automation. But when it gets into AI, the die is enabled in such a way that from where it gains its temperature, the correcting mechanism is given to that particular a coolant or any other heating element circulation. That die temperature is falling, please rectify. So this decision-making loop happens. Since this decision-making is de-skilled and the operator is removed in terms of thinking ability, and automatically it is built in, the die becomes smart. Oh, I said, fine, I have understood something. So what? Then the answer came, and this die is installed in a foundry. When a drop in temperature consistently, if not noticed and activated upon, then it can produce a defective component. There can be a engineering parameter variation, a variation in the thickness, etc., etc. Then so what, I asked. Then I said, if that foundry is a part of an integrated machine shop, if that component goes to the machine shop and it is mounted on a machine, the drill bit or the tool comes and touches the casting or the forging, there will be a breakage, the tool will stop, the component machining will stop, the line will stop, and there will be economic losses, what is considered as one of the TPM losses. So what? That will get reported as a part of the drop in the TPM. So this is the chain of connection that gets reverted. Because of the early detection, the die itself becomes intelligent through an artificial mechanism, and it senses and alerts subsequent damages of a tool breakage or a casting wastage that is prevented proactively. I connected all these pieces. Then the bulb went in my mind, flash. What is the connect between this artificial intelligence enhancement and a domain called cost and management accounting? There came the flash in my mind. This is directly connected to a subject called standard costing. So where is the connect in standard costing? If you exactly reverse the same process, what I told you just now, what does a typical material usage variance report does every month. Let's say this is the month of January. On 1st of February, today, I generate a report of the material usage last month, exactly the next day itself. It speaks about a casting damage. It says 10 pieces were lost. Out of 10 pieces, 3 pieces were lost due to that breaking and all that. So you want an investigation. This report goes to either the production director or operations man. He again puts this point to his foreman. Foreman again goes and investigates, and he confirms, yes sir, 10 pieces were lost. Out of this, 3 pieces were because of temperature variation, 3 pieces because of this coolant oil, etc., etc. All these reasons, which comes as a variance analysis in a standard costing, is disrupted by a smart guy proactively, because this variance analysis and control, what action would have been taken if a robust standard costing is operated, is de-skilled and put into the brain of the die itself, and the corrective mechanism happens. So this flash came into my mind, and it gave me a link that artificial intelligence can uproot the operational way of a typical variance analysis of a cost and management accountant. But it cannot remove the job of a management accountant. Why? Because only he can create that this sort of decision making happens at an operational level. This logic of thinking and reacting and operational losses should be tabulated and built into the algorithm. That algorithm should get into the artificial intelligence, and the machine should alert. With this algorithm, the machine should send alerts and take corrective action. So now the touch point is getting connected. Proactively, the management accountant lists down this sort of operational issues. I gave you an instance of what is called as a typical shop floor operational control. There is also an issue where the cost accountant, on behalf of a procurement department, while discussing in terms of a price negotiation with another company, they get into the terms discussion. Today, the bot of one company talks to the bot of another company, and completely de-skilled the price negotiation takes place with the cost structure and details, and finally the contract is ready for signing. This is yet another case study. So this is exactly how small way case studies started getting built up, by connecting to the domain of costing and management accounting, not by simply telling because AI, it will be useful, efficiency will improve. Exactly where the connection comes. It helps you in operational control, it helps you in transactional accounting, it also helps you in correct cost center accounting. We as cost accountants know that in many companies, if you give a general cost center code 99 within a list of 100, the tendency in companies to code all the expenses to 99 without going directly to the cost center is very high. Because you can build artificial intelligence in such a way, when the vouchers are read, even in terms of an optical intervention, by referring to the type of resource which is consumed, a cost center can be selected automatically, thereby de-skilling the selection of a cost center by a financial accountant who doesn't know anything on cost accounting. These are all the types of skilling of the cost accountant in the context of AI. So this upskilling, I don't want to get into the AI tools, but I should know what AI can do for me, upskill myself, develop this logic, and build into the domain of artificial intelligence and come up with the case studies of deployment. And this is exactly where today the positioning of AI is. If this is understood, the touch points are understood, we will be able to fully relate to the type of knowledge which our speakers are going to give today, and gradually understand that this is how an upskilling can be useful for a cost accountant or a CMA at a strategic level, at an operational level, and at a transactional level. So at a strategic level, at an operational level, and at a transactional level, how the decision-making loop happens, convert the decision-making loop into algorithm, and leave the algorithm to be configured into a typical AI tool. This is how the upskilling context will have to take place. With this brief setting, I now request Gopal Ramanan to give his first address so that we try to understand how the upskilling can be made much more robust with the knowledge we can pick up from him today.